Alright, and we're back. And, yeah, you can see I'm stretching trying to stretch, sewing the felt over, the foam head there. Foam. Yeah. And I sped that way up. It doesn't take a lot of imagination to figure out how to sew. So I just fit it on his head and sewed the front to his lip. See, I jumped it there too. You'll notice the light's changing a lot. That's because that can be for a few reasons. Maybe I turned a light on. Maybe a day passed. This did take me quite a while. It was just in my spare time and on my days off that I was able to construct this. I'd put on the same shirt now and again, but this did take a few days. If I remember correctly, it was almost half a month that this took me, just because it was so inconsistent when I could work on it. If you make a puppet, like I said, this isn't really the way to make a puppet. This is just my attempt at sort of finding jhumwox. So if you make a puppet, keep in mind you can do so much. You can glue, tape, staple. I just sew because I like it better. It's what I know how to do. It's probably not the most efficient way. I'm sure glue, it's a lot quicker. You get some of the strong stuff that really sticks. But I was kind of trying to make it on a budget, so I already had the thread and needle and everything. And it made a lot more sense to sew it instead of buying a whole bunch of, new tubes of glue to keep around the house. So I did buy some glue, but that I only wound up using that on details where it would look weird if I'd sewed it, like the lips and whatnot. So there I am sewing the inside of his mouth onto the front of his mouth. And that's just black felt. When I said it was bad to make a puppet out of felt, I was half lying. It's good to make a few different pieces of the puppet out of felt. The inside of the mouth is a good one. The tongue's usually a good one, but with jhumwox, I wanted his tongue to look as realistic as possible. I wasn't going for super realistic, or I would have... See, there's a light change, for instance. Spent a whole lot more money and used all kinds of special paints and latex and stuff, and tried to do like an animatronic sort of puppet. But I wasn't going for a Muppet style, Yeah, he came out kind of Muppety, but I wasn't going for a true Muppet style puppet where, you're supposed to accept the fact that it's just a puppet. And that's kind of what a lot of those puppet tutorials tell you to do. They show you how to make a puppet, and it's not necessarily supposed to look realistic. Now, while I wasn't going super realistic, I was trying to create something that looked halfway believable. So I didn't want to give him just a flat felt tongue. I wanted to give him something with texture. And you'll see in this portion of the video how I did that with his tongue and the green sponge. I tried to cut out as much of the fidgeting as I did when I was making it, because it's hard to find the right angle to start sewing something on at, or the right angle to even position the base of the head there. Before I started sewing that material on for his chin, that took a lot of fidgeting and fiddling with the materials. So I tried to cut most of that out, but you'll still see it here and there. Anyway, you can probably see, he's starting to look like jhumwox. He's not looking like some creepy foam skeleton anymore. And that you'll notice between the jaw and the, I'm sorry, you'll notice between the finished puppet and the initial picture that I drew, his jaw got a lot bigger. And I forget why I did that. It was just something, you know, when I was shaping the foam and cutting it out and everything, I came across this piece that made the jaw look as strong as it was, and I knew instantly that I wanted him to have a strong jaw. So he got this nice kind of jaw going on here, and after that, the rest of the changes just sort of went with it. The big bottom lip and everything like that. His mouth got considerably larger, and yeah, you can see, you know, his mouth's kind of wider. Here we go, we're making a lip, and that is just a light purple, kind of pinkish felt again. He's almost every material on him is made of felt. As I was saying in the first video, that will change when I have to make him in the future. I forgot to actually say that the material I have set aside is fleece. His lips will still be made out of felt, the inside of his ears will still be made out of felt, and parts of his anatomy, I believe I am going to make out of the original purple felt as well. So, hopefully we'll get a nice look at him, or a nice looking finished product. Or I could screw it all up and everyone will hate him, but that's just the chance you take when you try to upgrade something. And it's such a pain to get my hand in and out of him with the sock there. I have to upgrade the design. Here we are with the top lip, and this is where I'm talking about glue. I sewed his bottom lip on because I could get away with it. You weren't going to see the inside of the mouth there where I sewed it on. But I can't sew his top lip on. I have to glue it. So I used, so you can see I marked it off with a pen, and I cut around it and then cut out the inside. See little blue dots. You got to be careful with felt pen and felt, because if you put too much in it, if you mark too much and you get it too dark, it'll never dry, and it'll always come off on your hands. Anyway, so there I am gluing it. That's just regular tacky glue. You got to be careful with that. If you make a puppet out of tacky glue, don't get it wet. It's not. I mean, it's water soluble, so you do not want to get it wet. Anytime you see jhumwox in a situation where he would be wet, it is a special effect or something. So here we go. I'm getting that top lip on there. That was kind of a pain because it didn't want to stick down all the way. So I used this no-sew glue kind of stuff, and it's got a real funny. It's got something really funny on the back of the package. I'm going to show it to you in a minute here. Yeah, it made me laugh anyway. I mentioned it to my mom, and she said something along the lines of sewing circles kind of having their own lingo for things. And here we go. It actually says, if you can see it, and I know you can, but just wait till I'm done trying to find it myself here a year ago in the past. And it says, apply glue to wrong side of fabric with finger brush or bottle. But yeah, apply glue to wrong side of fabric. Now, if you're applying it to the wrong side of the fabric, according to the directions, aren't you applying it to the right side of the fabric if you're doing it right? What is the wrong side of the fabric? You can't follow directions exactly and put it on the wrong side of the fabric. So that just kind of cracked me up. My mom was saying something along the lines of sewing circles having their own lingo, and it just made me laugh. You know, there are a lot of things like that. Well-established groups that have their own long-standing traditions of pretentiousness. Maybe I'll have to have jhumwox gripe about that in an upcoming vlog. But yeah, that just kind of made me laugh. So the eyes took so many layers just to get the paint opaque enough. You kept having these little see-through streaks. So I had to paint on one coat and let that dry for a few hours, paint on the next coat. And the thicker it got, the slower it dried. So that was an adventure. And here we go with the tongue. See me folding and cutting and creating the groove in the top of the tongue there, and rounding out the edges. That's all it really is. It's just kind of molding it with the scissors. Trying to get that to fit right in there. I had to kind of try to trim it and slim it because it was a little too big for his mouth. So by the time I was done, it fit relatively well, and because I'd had the bottom lip established the way I did with sort of a pit down beneath his lip, it fit really well. That was a happy accident. Now we're getting close to the end of part 2, and in part 3 I will show you a couple more things. I believe the ears are coming up. If not, part 4. But I believe the ears are coming up, and I'll show you how I attached the tongue. So join me again.